get in, but this time it was Johnny on the spot, so I like it. Hey, everybody. Go ahead and pull up a few of the comments. Looks like you all were early to the chat room today. Hey there, Bobby. You know what? I love the live streams as well. I told you all I was going to try to do a better job of these. And so I think this is my third week in a row that I have now done a live stream. So super excited. Next week, I think we have to go to Wednesday, though, thinking in advance. I'm going to be in New York with work. And I think I might have booked a Broadway show on Tuesday night. So I'm going to be seeing The Notebook on next Tuesday night. So I will not be on the live stream. Looks like my video is playing on my side, so everything will be coming through. Hey, Dewey. Good to see you. Ready for showtime? It is indeed showtime now. We've got Brant in the chat. Hey, Brant. Hey, everyone. And then I just commented there as well. All right, so you know that I love to start out with where is everyone from? Who we got in the chat room? Let's see. And it looks like my chats are a little delayed today. I'm seeing it pop up in YouTube. Kevin, I'm looking at you, but it hasn't popped up on my screen here. There we go. Oh, you always got to have a cruise book. So if you were going through cruise withdrawals, I mean, I think that's kind of how it started with me, Kevin. It's a slippery slope, though. I will say that. But I definitely always wanted to have a cruise book because I wanted something to look forward to. And before you knew it, like I couldn't keep them booked close enough. If it went more than 4 days, like I'm going a little bit miserable. Like I wasn't on ships this past weekend and I'm gonna be off the next 2 weekends. So I'm taking 3 weekends off and like my anxiety is already picking up a little bit. So I totally get that. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to this screen here as well too. So I wonder if you all can see that. Hopefully not. Do you see a little line going through your screen right now? It should be cutting like right here is where it's at. If you can see that, let me know. Hopefully that's not coming through, but I played with some things earlier. So I'm hopeful that that's not actually the case. But if you do see the line, let me know in the comments if you don't mind. So the QR code, this hand, I forget things are reversed. The QR code here is the Buy Me a Coffee link. This is the only time during the live stream I'm going to talk about it. But if you do want to support the Weekend Cruiser, this is a great way to do it. Scan the QR code, use the link down at the bottom to buy me a coffee, and we'll be able to, or you'll be able to make a donation and support the Weekend Cruiser. It will also mean that I will give you a personal video reply back. So one of the reasons I chose Buy Me a Coffee versus Patreon is it's super easy for me just to like pick up my phone and give you a nice little thank you note, personalized specifically for you. So if you want a note from me, you got the Buy Me a Coffee link there. And I think this didn't happen last week. I think if somebody actually does make a donation of some kind, something's going to pop up on the screen. Maybe it should be right here. I don't know if I've configured everything right or not, but we'll play that by ear and see if that winds up happening or not. But fingers crossed, I am not a tech-savvy person. I will tell you, when you become a YouTuber, I don't know if some of you out there have thought about starting content creation or YouTube, you learned so many things. Like I never knew that there was so much that goes into content creation. And I mean, I keep buying additional softwares to try to help me out and streamline everything some, but it is always something that I'm learning. I never stop to learn. I mean, which is probably good. I mean, I go on cruises and I learn stuff all the time, but then I come here to talk about the cruises and I got to learn how to tell you all what I'm learning from the cruises. It's just the never-ending cycle. Oh, we talked about that already, Kevin. Kevin's from California. We've got Matt coming in from Tampa. Thomas and Sarah here are going to be from, you're just outside of Orlando, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That closer to the coast, though, but I forget the city. Karen, welcome back. I'm seeing some names from last week. Landlocked North Texas. Jigs, the one thing that I'll say about that is I went to Uzbekistan one time. Like 2 years ago, maybe, I went to Uzbekistan for a week-long tour and loved it, by the way. If you've not gone to Uzbekistan, it is an amazing place to travel to. So much culture, so much history. But they are one of, I think, 3 countries that are double landlocked. And so when I'm looking at places that I may want to retire or move, I don't know that I can handle double landlocked. So there's 2 countries that you have to go through before you can get to a body of water. That's just a no on my part. But yeah, landlocked is tough. Port St. Lucie, Brant, hey there. 60 days until Anthem. So you're doing, where is Anthem at these days? So if Symphony went up north to Bayonne, where'd Anthem go? Is it over in the Mediterranean? Hey there, Adam. Oh, you are seeing this little thing here. All right, let me move it up a little bit then. I'll see if I can get it out of the screenshot or out of the shot. All right. That should get it out. Me and my learning, such is life. Thanks for letting me know, Adam, and Karen's also chiming in. Greg, thank you. See, this is why I love you all. You're so kind when I'm sitting over here learning as I go a little bit. But thank you for letting me know. So we've hopefully gotten rid of it now. If you see it come back up, let me know. But I think it's out of here now. Bobby, great question here. And this is one that I get all the time. Is it cheaper to book your cruise when you are on board the ship? There's 2 answers to this. So the first part is the rate that you're going to pay for the ship is the same exact rate that you're going to find on the website. You're not going to find a cheaper cruise on the website. The cruise will go for the exact same price as on the ship, off the ship, whatever. The part that you may be able to get on the ship is onboard credit. Virgin Voyages is probably the biggest one here. If you're booking on the ship, they'll give you like $600 towards your bar tab. If you book a weekend on Royal Caribbean or Celebrity, they'll give you $25 or $20. That's a really low amount. But it's based traditionally, at least on the sailings I've been on, based on the number of nights of the sailing and based on your category of room that you're booking. So if you're booking a suite, you'll get even more onboard credit and perks. It's not huge, honestly, at the end of the day. I would also advise you always to check with a travel agent. So I am extremely travel agent pro-friendly here, and they actually might be the only ones that can get you a cheaper rate because they might have a group rate from where they reserved it 3 months ago. They've still got some of that space left and prices have gone up. So I would check with your travel agent, see what they think if you should book it on board, book it direct with them. You can always book it on board and transfer it to a travel agent. So if you don't have one, I think you've got like 60 days that you can transfer it over to that agent. If you're on a cruise where you've already booked with the travel agent, it'll automatically assign them to, or that booking to your travel agent. So they'll automatically get it. I find as a good best practice, it's nice just to email your travel agent, say, hey, just booked a cruise. Here's the information in case you didn't get it, to make sure that it flows through correctly. But normally I've never had an issue there. That's always been pretty seamless. Just popping in to say, hey there, Kimberly, thank you for noticing the line. You all are paying attention. Gob sees the line as well. The line appears to be at your hairline. Yeah, I had it because I wanted, there's underneath the QR code, I wanted there to be a little pop-up there, but apparently the box is just weird on that. So I'll escalate it to the team that runs this site. It is not me. This is just one of those streaming platforms that are out there. And I don't even think it's the popular one. I feel like everybody else uses a different one. But I went with this one because I thought it offered the most kind of things to it. So Beverly, I have heard really good things about the icon. You know, I am not one who pushes the icon, who thinks the icon's the end-all be-all. If anything, I'm not looking forward to going on the icon. But everybody that I have talked to on the icon's like, Brandon, like, you really need to try it. Like, I know that you hear all these things. I know this is what you think, but it's not like that. That everybody is having a wonderful time on board the Icon of the Seas. So when prices go down, Beverly, I very well might make it there, but it'll be a few years probably before that winds up happening at this point. And you are in from St. Augustine's, Florida. Welcome. Adamus, welcome back. The Grandeur on July 6th, 6-day Western. That'll be really nice. Just missing the July 4th sailing. Not that, you know, a Mexican port is going to do fireworks for American Independence Day, but just another holiday. You don't have to take off for work. Bobby coming in from Chicago. Beverly, be on the lookout. Am I going to Utopia before? Were you beating me there? You were beating me there. I was going to say I might have some content for the Utopia, but my first sailing is September 6th. I will be on the Utopia. So I'll be getting the full ship walking tour and all that. And then I did book another one because the prices came down some on November 1st. So I'll have 2 cruises there to kind of get the whole experience of what is a new cruise ship the size of Utopia like for a weekend sailing. It is very, very different. I am learning to like the larger ships for weekends, though. I know if Amy's on here, I haven't seen her yet. She would probably encourage me to be more open to it. And I'm getting there. I am liking them more for weekends. I think the crew is probably still being put through it pretty hard, but I'm enjoying it. Thanks, Adam. The line is gone. The big old line debacle of 2024 has been removed. So perfect. Brant from Southampton, England. Oh, so it's late there your time. BST time. Oh, no, you're not saying you're in Southampton. Sorry, strike that. You're down. You've already posted. This is where the Anthem of the Seas is. So that's what I was thinking. She, I think, is going to have some short cruises over out of Southampton. I need to take a look at that. I don't think all of them are long. Ooh, you're going to the MSC Magnifica. Ooh, Stevie. I think I'm saying that right. What do you need to know? Give it a chance. There is, I mean, I'm sure you've gone online. You've seen all the reviews. People give very mixed reviews to MSC, if not bad reviews most of the time. I will say give it a chance. If you go with an open mind, it is a fine cruise line. I've enjoyed myself there. I'm actually going to be going back in 3 weeks. That's the next one that I'm going. But I've done 7 or 8 cruises on her now this year. I really, really enjoy it. You know, I would say do the ports, get off early. I don't know which itinerary you're doing. If you're getting Key West in there, Coco Cay's, or not Coco Cay, Ocean Key is open up again. So they've done some renovations there. I don't know what they've changed. I think they only changed some very small stuff to the commercial area, but it is a marine reserve. So it can never be built up and become a really large amusement park. But I say get off, enjoy, go to the shows. You don't have to be early. Sit in the middle. That's the key there. And give the food a chance. The food, me and Andrew, who I've also not seen in here, he joined me for one of the last cruises. The food was actually pretty good for the most part. There was a few dishes here and there that hit or miss. And then there were some that were fantastic. So order a lot of things. Give yourself some options. If you don't like it, send it back, get something else, and it'll probably be better. So you've got some options to play with there. But I enjoy MSC. The pool area is small. So if you have a sea day, if you're doing like a midweek sailing, make sure you're getting out to the pool early if you want a good seat. The chairs are horrible, but that's the only chair you get. So you kind of got to make do. Ah, Karen, I was thinking I had hit it well enough. You can still see it a little bit. There we go. I just moved it a few more inches. Or not inches, but I guess that's a centimeter. Oh, and you can see just notice the sun's coming in on my camera. Give me a second here. There we go. Maybe. Let's see if that keeps the solar glare from popping up. I love it when it gets dark so late, but it's messing up my live streams. Yes, Gob, do not trust the Uzbeki cruise ads. I would not go there to do a cruise ship. Joe from Philly, welcome. Joining from YouTube. I was thinking you're probably going to be on Facebook. I saw the like come through. Thank you for that, by the way. Yeah, if you're booking with a travel agent, it doesn't hurt to check to see if they've got group rates. Hopefully they're volunteering that stuff. But that's really great that you're able to get some onboard credit and get a better rate for it. The entertainment was I can't talk tonight. Spectacular. Pam, hey, welcome, Pam. Hey, Brent. Do I have a preferred insurance company? I've been using Travel Guard, but always looking. So I'll tell you what I do. And I take a different approach to it. My travel agent actually, I think it was my travel agent, turned me on to this company. And the reason that I like them is they don't give bells and whistles, Andrea. They give medical evacuation. So my biggest fear or concern when I think about what is a cost or what is a situation that I don't want to have to pay for that can be astronomical. And for me, that is medical evacuation. That is, expatriation of my body, whatever that's called, should something happen, getting me back to the US. Should I pass away while I'm on one of these trips, which hopefully that doesn't happen, but stranger things. So that's what I go with, and it's called Geo Blue. It is a subset of Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and it is only going to provide you with medical insurance, medical evacuation, travel insurance, and it is an annual policy. I think for me, coming in at a young 40-year-old male, let's say, I'm paying $200 a year for that service of theirs. And I think that that is a really reasonable price. Chances of me missing a cruise ship are slim. So I don't value the travel insurance, the trip delay insurance, like cancellation. That doesn't really bother me too bad. When my father passed away last year is really the first time that trip insurance would have ever have done me any good. And you know, I do hundreds of cruises. And so I just have not seen the value behind all that. I'd rather book it and know that I'm going to make it. But I do have the increased medical coverage. If I'm traveling internationally, that's going to kick in. The key to those is the annual policies. Your trip has to always be less than, I think it's like 89 days, so that for whatever reason, that changes something in the insurance world. So just make sure you don't go over 89 days for the trip, and you should be fine on that. Let's see. So long-winded answer, GeoBlue is who I use and I really like. Let me see if I can scoot my camera up a little bit here. Nope, it might be, oh, I'm going the wrong direction. This is me again, learning on the fly here. All right, I feel like I'm better in frame now. Perfect. Hey, Diana, welcome back. On the, we had a premiere yesterday of the Symphony of the Seas walking tour. And I would tell you all, Leo, before I get to your comment here, the ship tours, I didn't want to do. If you go back and like look through the history of all the videos that I posted, I probably didn't do my first ship tour for the first year and a half. I did not want to do them. I think part of it was I just didn't like the way everybody else was doing them for whatever reason. They didn't interest me. They didn't excite me. It's also not a video that I would watch before I go on a cruise. And I think that was one thing that I had to get over is when you make content for YouTube, it's not always what Brandon wants to watch. Because when I go on a cruise, I want to learn it. I want to walk around. I want to get lost. I want to not know what's behind door number 1 and just go that way and figure it out. Like I'm all about the adventure. And so I couldn't figure out how to do it. But I finally learned that, you know, let me give it a chance. People are asking for them. And they are by far my best videos that are out there. Symphony of the Seas is performing really well. So I'm fortunate that she did a 3-night, but I love walking through there. And I think the key for me in those full ship tours has been being able to tell you all what you can expect and what the best practice is, because I've learned so much on cruising on these ships on how to best utilize the space. It's not just going, oh, over here's the buffet. I'm going, here's the buffet, the good food's in the bag. This is the best place to sit. There's all this information that I'm able to pick up and give to you in just a really quick walking tour, because I am literally walking with my camera. Actually, I've got my little guy over here. I'm just walking around with this and talking at the exact same time. So if I mess something up, if I flub on what I'm saying, it is what it is. It's not getting edited out. I just have to make up for it or put a little text graphic correcting myself as we go through it. But I really enjoyed those. So thank you all, Diana, for joining the premiere last night of Symphony of the Seas and sticking around. It was like a 37-minute video for an Oasis class. I did much better. The last one I did was 45 minutes. So glad to get that down a little bit. Not a fan of the long videos. So if you're going on the Beyond, you will find CocoCay to be a little bit less. And it also depends on the other ship that you are there with. Cruise Ship Mapper is who several people in the comments section here use to see what other ships are going to be in port with you. That might be worth checking out. If it's an Oasis class ship, it's going to have Oasis people and lots of kids. If it's going to be Freedom class, you'll have less people, still lots of kids. So a little bit to consider there. I still am hoping Celebrity puts one of their Edge class ships on the weekend sailings. That would be incredible, but they have not done it yet. Oh, yes. I don't know if it's fear of missing out for me, FOMO. I don't know if that's why I don't like cruising, Diana, or missing out on cruising. That's just my happy place. Like that is my spot that I always want to be and I always want to go. I don't think that I'm missing anything necessarily. I just want to be there all the time. Yeah. But I totally see where you're coming from. A few months off, you'll make it there. But see if you can schedule a little weekend in there. We've got some holidays coming up. Maybe you can make one work. Oh yeah, so Adamus, if we're talking about prices, I mean, holiday sailings are ridiculously expensive, and cruise ships wind up sailing out. I don't do a lot of holiday sailings these days. I've done several Christmas and New Year's sailing where it's an exotic trip, where it's 10, 12 nights cruise in Asia and South America, and those come at a premium to get those. But for the most part, I try to stay away. Thanksgiving is one of the most expensive ones that you can do. No, it's okay, Brent. I'm learning I need to keep up with what I've said. I say it and then I forget it and I've moved on. But I like going through all the comments too. Like literally, I like stopping at each individual one and seeing what people says. And so by the time everybody responds to what I've asked, it takes me a little bit to get down there. I wish there was a way that the tool, I could like mark who I've responded to so I can scroll down and then come back up and pick back up where I left off at. But that is not what we have. So I'm curious, Beverly. This is one that I've thought about making a video on a few times. By the way, safe cruise parking is half a block from my house. I walk by people getting on the cruise ship or getting on their vans or coming back from a cruise. If I'm here on any day that cruise ships are here, I'm passing people going on a cruise, and I'm just waiting for somebody in that line to like recognize me and be like, "Hey, it's Brandon," but it hasn't happened yet. So let me know what you think of safe cruise parking. It is one that I've thought about approaching safe cruise parking and saying, hey, let's do some kind of a promotion where I talk about their service on being able to park for cheaper and get you over to the cruise terminal. The other one that I saw somebody mention just the other day was something around the airport. I think there's also one called Premier that's around here. There was another one in the building across from me, but that garage got condemned because it was apparently going to fall down. So they don't use that one anymore, but there's not a lot of great options. If you're doing a short cruise, I would say bite the bullet and pay the extra money just for the sheer convenience factor of being so close to the port. But if you're going for 7 or longer, run the math on it. The terminals are running around, I think, $21 unless you're at Terminal A, and that's around $28, maybe $30. Now they keep raising it. And I don't drive over there anymore, so I don't know exactly what that is, but see what the difference is and what you would save. The airport is also just cheaper. So if you want to park and then just factor in, long-term parking at the airport, how much would it cost to then take an Uber to and from your car? That might also be a cheaper solution too. And if you're coming in from up north, a lot of people are parking at Brightline stations and taking Brightline down. That does a few things. Number one, you don't have to drive South Florida on 95. It is a madhouse down here driving around. And they charge $5 or $10 a day, and you get your train ticket as well that you have to buy. So just something to consider if that's where you're coming from. Will be the first time on Indy. Indy, if you've been on Freedom, and I'm pretty sure that you have, Pam, you're going to love Independence of the Seas. It is like the same thing, except it doesn't have as nice of a playmakers. Actually, their playmakers is still nice. They've got a video shop or photo booth that's downstairs, and you've also got fish and chips. Those are going to be your main differences, but I am a huge fan. It is my second favorite ship. Speaking of which, that is the group cruise that Pam is talking about there. So she's signed up. There's about 12 or 13 of you that have signed up. And I just checked the rates before coming on here because I didn't do that last week. If you have not booked the group cruise, we're going to be able to hold this group space for about another 2 weeks at this point. Maybe. It might get called sooner. And the group rates are significantly cheaper than what the fair going rate is these days. Remember when we just talked about how travel agents might save you money because they got group rates? Well, Brandon and the travel agent both have group rates here for you if you want to go on the 4-night September 26th sailing on Independence of the Seas to Coco Cay with 2 sea days. It's going to be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. Having some sea days, getting to know you all more. But the rates are cheaper that we have still by like $100 to $200 per person for a weekend cruise. So that is sizable. So check it out. If that's something that interests you, we'd love to have you. The link for it is down below in the description. It is the one for group cruises. So not the newsletter, but the one directly below it will give you all the information you need. The other one that I'll talk about, and this one seems to be catching on a little bit, is the non-group group cruise. So if you want to go on let me make sure I'm giving you all the right dates. The May 10th sailing On World America, I think I have that right. Have I been saying May 3rd? No, May 3rd is what our last group was. This one's May 10th. I'm getting myself confused. May 10th, 2025 on World America. It is the third or fourth sailing that she's going to be doing. That is the non-group group cruise. So book it however you want to. If you want to go through MSC's casino, if you want to use your own travel agent, you want to book it on board or go direct, you can do that for this one. And then I'm going to come up with like a little goodie bag that you can buy into, and we'll make it really festive and everybody know that we're still part of a group, even though it's not properly organized as a group. So more to come. I've got to get an email out. Once we probably lose the group rates for the September 26th sailing, I'll start pushing World America and the 2025 schedule a little bit more that I need to do some time to. If nothing else, I know a lot of you all are solo cruisers just like I am, and I want to find a decent solo cruise, and they're really tough to come by these days. So if you've got any advice or thoughts, if you've seen like a really good solo rate or deal these days, let me know in the comments, especially for 2025. We'll see if we can make that happen. Greg is coming back for his third group cruise. I forget how many we've done. This might be the third. Greg, how many have you done? Have you done 2 or 3? But it's a really good group of people you all like. I feel super lucky and super fortunate to have all of you join me and get to know you. And I can absolutely vouch and attest for these folks that they are all amazing people. Karen, it's interesting. Like, I'm a planner by trade. That might be like in my day job, I do a lot of planning, project management kind of work. That might be why when I go on a cruise, like I don't want to think about it. I don't want to plan it. I take the opposite approach. But I totally get that. And that's one of the lessons that I had to learn in being a content creator and having this YouTube channel is like, people are not like me. People who are watching this channel want to know these details. They want to get it right when they are there the first time. And so it does help out a lot of people. Fish and chips is really good. It doesn't necessarily fit within my diet with all the grease that it has, but their chips and their fish is fantastic. Sarah, you've had Indy up in Port Canaveral, I think, for a while now. She's a good ship, so I'm excited for her to come down too. Pam, super excited to see everyone. See, we're a really good group. Like literally, there's probably 5 or 6 people in this chat that you all are already getting to know. You might as well come and join us at this point. Dewey's another one who's going to be going on the cruise. At least I say, Dewey, you're coming on the September cruise. I'll have to check that, but we'd love to have you if you're not scheduled. He came on our last one with us. Have you made the sailing, and if so, any tips? So tips for New England, not a lot of good tips. I did do it. I did it on Brilliance of the Seas, I think, for a 7-night that I did. And it was beautiful. I mean, I'd go back to Halifax, Nova Scotia in a heartbeat to hang out because it was just absolutely beautiful. Book your tours and cross your fingers you have good weather. It is a lot of outdoor. It's a lot of nature. You want the sun to be shining. When I went up there, it was the remnants of a hurricane that were coming through because you got to go up there in the summer seasons, right? So the remnants of a hurricane or tropical storm were coming through and not the best to be touring around. Make sure you go over to Peggy's Cove. That is the classic one. Everybody loves it. It's just beautiful at Peggy's Cove. That would be my biggest advice there. Halifax, you can walk around it. I mean, I enjoyed just spending time in Halifax. You don't have to do a true tour there, but they do have a lot to offer as well. Hey, Lisa, welcome to the chat. Hope all is going well over there. Please tell Bob I said hello. Hey, Javaholic, what you got? You're trying to revisit the whole work from home cruise ship. But then again, I am beside the Mediterranean. What other parts of the world are port intensive? Mediterranean is definitely the one that is most port intensive. I think, there are other sailings. I'm trying to think of areas that are. Mediterranean is the biggest one that's going to be port intensive. If you come down to the Caribbean, which is where most of the sailings are going to be, you're going to have at least 2 sea days. There is Voyager of the Seas for next year. What was it this year? There was one out of San Juan that actually did have, I think that was this year, and I didn't make it on it. That was 7 nights, and it had a port day every single day. And so you just kind of got to look around and see what's there. The other thing that you can always try to do is even if it has a port or a sea day, make sure that sea day is falling like on Saturday or Sunday. So if your ship's leaving on Friday, you can stay connected to the US space land, and that gives you a better chance of having Saturday, Sunday as a C day, and then maybe the rest you'll have more ports. I would also say check it out. If you need to risk 1 day per week, that would be a personal preference on your part. I'm not sure that I would do that, but I know a ton of people that work on the ships for a good chunk of time, and they've not had an issue. It'll also depend on what kind of encryption or security your company is using. If you need to go through a VPN or there's some kind of encryption that's going to happen, that's really going to weigh down. And then I would absolutely not even consider it. But if you can just use a normal computer, you'll be fine. Group W, I don't know what that means, Matt. I'm trying to connect it back to something I said earlier. Apparently my mind's not working good. What do you mean there, Group W? Yeah, I get it, Karen. Lots of people have this work job. I got one too. This is one that I'm switching out a land-based trip for this one, I think. Don't hold me to that. I hope my friend's not listening. That might be news to him. I'll see if I can do both. The World America actually only has one sea day, the midweek. So if that is a sailing that you want to do on May 10th next year, was it May 10th? How am I getting all these dates confused today? You guys are probably wondering how I ever make an educational video to talk about all this stuff with how short term of a memory that I have. But it was May 10th. I'm right on that. But it only has one sea day. So if you need a port to work in, you technically could probably wind up working every single day, having that backup option of a port. You can get off the ship, get cell phone reception. And there's only one day that you might have to take vacation. Don't know if you're a type of person that has to be at your job or not, Karen, but just, trying to get you on board. Greg, second. So I was adding you to one additional one. I wasn't sure. Hey there, Mickey. They're going to change the crown and anchor soon regarding the levels. Yes, I think that they have to, quite frankly. I've been talking about this for a long time. I don't think they want to do it. I don't think anybody wants them to do it. But I don't think that they've been left much of a choice after their decision to offer the double points. There's also a lot of people post-COVID that are cruising a lot more extensively and going a lot more. So the numbers for these programs have skyrocketed. We've seen other loyalty programs, whether it's airlines, it's hotels, that have completely devalued their program and taken away a lot of benefits as well, or they've really raised the bar so high that it's impossible for normal people to achieve unless you truly are a loyalist to that company. So I think they will be changing it. Would not shock me if they just overhauled the entire program. I keep saying I think that I would love for them to combine with Celebrity, for the Captain's Club and for Royal Caribbean's Crown and Anchor to combine. But the more that I think that through and do these little thought experiments in my head, I don't see that one happening. I don't see that coming to life. So I think that Royal Caribbean will wind up removing some of the lower tiers. So when you're thinking of Emerald, Platinum, I think those may go away and they'll raise the bar to have, like a 1400 or a 2100 kind of situation and then space out 4 to 5 tiers within that. The problem is if they raise the tiers is you don't want a program that's got, 7 or 8 different tiers that you can be. That's just really tough on them to be able to manage the benefits and the different things that are going on with it. So I think we'll see the removal of some of the lower ones and an increase to some of the higher ones. Could be completely wrong on that, but that's what I'm expecting over here. Matt, I think you found a winner then. Let's get you on board. If you can do the independents, I would say do it sooner rather than later just because of those group rates that are really good right now. But we'd love to have you. Advise on the coffee options in the Diamond Lounge. We noticed that we do not get the 50% coupons as we did in the lower tiers. Is it better or does this fall under the 4 vouchers? So I'll tell you what I do and what everybody else does. So I don't drink alcohol, right, Thomas? I don't drink alcohol. So my vouchers go to waste for me for the most part because I'm getting bottled water or I'm getting coffee from Cafe Promenade. The reason I prefer to use my vouchers that the Crown and Anchor Society gives me versus going to the Crown Lounge, the old Diamond Lounge, is because I can customize my drink. I can get an iced Americano, or maybe I can just get a skinny cappuccino because I don't want the full fat milk. I want the non-fat option. So I can go there and I get exactly what I want, and it's normally a little bit larger. If you go into the Crown Lounge, you're going to find that you can make different options. It'll have the espresso, so you can get espresso, you can get cappuccino, you can get a latte. I think it even does, they have hot chocolate up there too, if you want to make that with some of the hot water and some of the teas out of the machine. But it's not customizable. It's not going to have any sugar options or flavoring options that you might want to put in there. It's not going to have any flavored milk, so it's not going to have your oat or your almond or your skinny. It's all full fat milk that you're going to get out of there. So a lot of people love it. There's always a line for it in the morning because they get to then use all 4 of their vouchers towards their alcohol drinks later that evening. Or maybe directly after they have their coffee, or maybe they had it before they had their coffee. Who's to say? But that's what I do. I go to Cafe Promenade because I've got 6 vouchers. I don't even use all those on coffee, but I'm not going to use that on alcohol. If you're using it on alcohol, the coffee in the Crown Lounge is going to be your best friend because it saves you a voucher versus going and paying one off for a coffee at Cafe Promenade. So hope that helps. Good luck, Dewey. I'm going to hope that you get both. I'm going to be optimistic here. Oh, you enjoyed Bimini. Tell me more about that, Michelle. What did you do in Bimini there? I don't often hear people say that they loved Bimini, so I'm curious to see how that went. So it's still good. I mean, I think the kids are going to ebb and flow, and I wouldn't be surprised looking at Celebrity now that it's doing weekends with the reflection here, that the first thing that I did, like, families just hadn't figured it out yet. I think the more that it does it, the more publicity that it gets going to CocoCay. I think there will be more kids, but I've come to realize that it's probably still going to be much less than what you're going to find on Freedom, Allure, Utopia, the other Royal Caribbean ships doing weekends. But yeah, Michelle, let me know what you did in Bimini that enjoyed it so much. Their beaches are nice. That much I'll give them. Do I know of any Thursday to Sundays? So they used to have a lot more Thursdays to Sundays. Check out Celebrity, the Silhouette, and the Summit. Both, I think we're doing a Thursday to Monday. There's none that will do a Thursday to Saturday, except for the MSC Seashore in Port Canaveral. So if you want a Thursday afternoon to a Sunday or 3-night cruise, the MSC Seashore will do that for you, Beverly. Otherwise, look for Independence to Seas and a few more. The Celebrity ships, the Silhouette and the Summit, they'll do a Thursday to a Monday morning, but they're going to be down here in Miami and Port Everglades. Hey, Floridia Cruisers, welcome to the chat. Michelle or Beverly might have some company with Michelle. Y'all should start a group cruise. Hey, Jen, one of our other group members. I think we've got a lot of group folks on here. Always good to see you. Mickey, my pleasure. Always glad to help out. Javaholic, you're able to work in the Med, no problem. Coming to VPN and NCL Premium Wi-Fi. No, even if you go over to Asia, maybe the ones that circumvent Japan might be more port intensive. The other ones that Celebrity does stops or goes from like Hong Kong to Singapore, Singapore to Hong Kong. So it's doing this back and forth. And there are several sea days in. It's a 12-night cruise, and you're looking at probably 4 sea days. And there'll probably be one port you miss because of weather. Just that's how it works. But even the South American one that was longer that I did definitely had sea days to it. It's a tough one. I mean, New England might be the only other place that you could look, but getting up to New England, unless it's stopping in Bar Harbor, you won't have, it's stopping in Maine. So it stops in Portland, Bar Harbor, and a few other places maybe. That'll break it up a little bit more so they have more port days. So check that out in the fall or in the summer in New England. So if you are coming on the group cruise, Hideaway Beach, or not group cruise, sorry, on the Hideaway Beach cruise on December 2nd for $43. It has been lower, but it depends on the ships that you're there with. So the bigger the ships are that are going, expect that rate to go up because remember, it's all about supply and demand, dynamic pricing, they call it. So they've got 1,800 seats that they can sell in Hideaway Bay or Hideaway Beach. So if 600 of those have been purchased, price is going to be lower. If they've sold 1,500 of them already, it's going to be a lot higher. It gets more valuable. And the more people that are there, the more people that can buy in or will want to buy in, and that's also going to change your price some. What cruise has the least kids and the most gays? Nolan, any ship that you go on, for the most part, is going to have gays, first of all. So we're everywhere, right? You're going to find the absolute most on Celebrity. Celebrity is where you're going to find the largest turnout of LGBT plus. That's just where we've had our market for a while. We've been reflected in the advertising. That's where we're going. Virgin Voyages is also going to have a really strong LGBT following. It's not as big yet as Celebrity. Granted, Celebrity's been around for a while. It's got a lot more street cred. Virgin is getting there. But they're really two different styles. So it's more of a relaxed kind of atmosphere on Celebrity, whereas Virgin's going to be more of a party atmosphere. Virgin is also going to be adults only. So you must be 18 plus to go on Virgin Voyages. Celebrity, you're also not going to find many kids. Unless you're doing like a Christmas, New Year, Thanksgiving, holiday sailing, you're not going to see a lot of kids there either. So I would say check out Celebrity, check out Virgin. Those are going to be really good ones that I'm familiar with. But anytime you're looking at an all-inclusive, you're looking at a luxury line, you're looking at maybe Holland America, you're looking at I want to say Princess, but I feel like Princess even has a decent amount of kids. My Princess folks on here, Adam and some of the rest of you, let me know how Princess is with kids. Viking, Oceana, Silver Seas, you're not going to find that many kids. They can go on them, but the ships aren't really designed for it. So check out Celebrity, Virgin. They're going to be your two best friends. And then I'll say, if you're looking for relaxing, Celebrity, looking for party, go Virgin. Or just do both of them like I would do. Why choose just one when you could have both of them? Beautiful, relaxing. The water was warm, calm, and great resort. Good feedback for Bimini there, Michelle. Thank you for sharing that. That's a tough one. Is the 4-day sailing on Virgin Voyages worth it? Now, a 4-day sailing for them is Wednesday to Sunday, I think it is. Key West, Bimini, Sea Day. And so is it worth it? At the times that I've checked it, it's coming in around $1,300 to $1,500 probably for a 4-day cruise in a balcony in one of their normal size verandas that they've got. Is it worth it? I mean, it's a good experience. Like, I enjoy going on Virgin. It is a premium cruise line though. So in my mind, I want to compare it with Royal, with MSC, even Celebrity, arguably, and all of those are going to be significantly cheaper. Not Royal Caribbean as much. If you're looking at one of Royal's newer ships, can be more expensive. But I can do weekends on, Royal Caribbean for under $800 consistently. I just booked an Aqua Suite. Mom, if you're watching this, I just got you an Aqua Suite on Celebrity. I'll tell you what that is later. But the Aqua Suite, which is just a normal balcony room with access to Blue and the concierge, for $1,100 all in to have their higher or more elevated experience. So it really just depends on what you're looking to do. If you've not gone on Virgin, I would say give it a try once to make up your mind. I think it is worth a splurge to experience it and go there and see it once. And then you can decide on if this is the creme de la creme for you, if this is the end all be all. A lot of people, once they go on Virgin, go, oh, wow, this is great. I'm definitely going back. The other thing is make sure you're price comparing. Gratuities are included, basic Wi-Fi is included, soda is going to be included. You're also probably going to get some kind of a bar tab thrown in there that you can go shopping at. Sometimes those are very lucrative. So they make it really tough to do an apples comparison. It's apples and oranges sometimes, because with Virgin, so much is going to be included in that value already. If you look over at Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, MSC, you get the cruise fare, and then you've got to buy your Wi-Fi, you've got to buy your soda, you've got to buy your drink package, and there's all these things that start adding on to it, and it's normally not as far off as you may think. And the food on Virgin is, it's amazing. I love the food over on Virgin Voyages. I hate the way that you have to book it though, so that's a whole different conversation. So if you book it, come back and ask, what's the first thing you need to do? It will be book your sailings 45 days, or book your dining experiences 45 days out. World America is 5'3". Do I have it wrong on my spreadsheet? Let me see. It is 5'3". I'm telling you all wrong. Why is it 5'10" on my spreadsheet? I'm going to have to check that. This is the downfall of when you track everything in spreadsheets. So I've got it listed. I've got it in two different places. You all would laugh if you saw my spreadsheet. It's color coded. I've got every weekend down at the bottom. So I've got like January 3rd, January 10th, January 17th, every Friday, and what ship I'm going to be on that weekend. So I've got it marked on the right one, but my spreadsheet, I marked it as the wrong one where I have the more detailed reservation and all that. So sorry about that, Greg. Yeah, no, hopefully I'm not going to be on a different one and the group's going to be happening on another cruise. That would not be a good thing. Does anyone offer all adult cruises? Virgin Voyages is the only one. So if you want to do an all adult cruise, it is 18 plus. Hideaway Bay is the only other adult section, which is also 18 plus at Coco Cay. Otherwise, I don't know of any cruise line that's offering any kind of adult area other than the solarium and some of the retreat kind of stuff. But those are what I would lean towards. Another one coming in with Virgin Voyages. That's going to be the go-to for adults only. Laura, let's see. I'm not going with you, actually. Sorry for not responding promptly today. I am going to be on the seashore on the 20th is when I'm there. So you're getting on the 16th. I'm getting on the 20th. So I will be there right after you. So make sure you tell everybody I'm coming. Get them ready for me. Roll out the red carpet. I'm going to be on there for their weekend cruise, which I'm a little, I give them some grace here. It is Thursday to Sunday. So it's not my ideal weekend. I like a solid Friday to Monday, but I'll do it just because it's a beautiful ship. MSC C-Class, of the three ships for MSC that I've been on, it is hands down my favorite class so far. I love that ship. I think it's a good one, Nolan. So when I think of good times to go on a cruise, to number one, get a good rate, and in my personal opinion, have less kids on there, I like going in early September because most kids have started back school at this point. So they're going to, nobody wants to take the kids off for the first week or second week of school. That's just weird. I mean, people do it. I'm confident. I think I pulled my niece out last year for Labor Day weekend. So I probably shouldn't talk here. I took her to the Mediterranean for a week on a cruise on Explorer of the Seas. So maybe I should hold my mouth on some of this commentary. But there aren't going to be less kids because they're back in school. Most kids are going to be in the summer. You're going to see that. But the other place that a lot of people forget about is the beginning of December is also a cheap time to cruise. So the reason for this is a lot of people travel for Thanksgiving, they go to grandma's house, and then again for Christmas, they're going to be going somewhere. And so those weeks in between, people don't want to go on a cruise because they just did Thanksgiving, they're getting ready to do Christmas. They want to stay at home and get ready and go through the festivities. So I would encourage you to check out December. I've always found really good deals in the first or second week of December to go on a cruise. August 24th. So I'll have some good content out for you Seaside. Seaside I've actually already done. I did it last year. So I do have some content on Seaside, but enjoy. Let me know what you think about the C-Class of ships. How competitive is MSC's gym packages against the other cruise lines? Javaholic, when you say gym package, are you talking about just purchasing like a yoga class, a spin class? To me, MSC has always been cheaper than the other cruise lines on everything for the most part. The only thing I feel like they're a little bit more expensive on might be the Wi-Fi. But their drink packages, you can get a good deal. And I feel like their instructor-led classes at the gym are also going to be cheaper. I mean, I would not do a personal trainer if that's what you're asking about. The gym, especially on the Magnifica, is super small. It doesn't have much to offer at all. But the C-Class had a decent gym to it. So I'd give it a try. And I know the World Europa as well as World America probably also have good ones. But the spa is also cheaper on MSC compared to the other cruise lines I've been on. So I'm going to stick with that's the normal going trend for MSC. It's just a little bit cheaper. I can, interestingly, get my hair cut cheaper on MSC than I can get it cut here in Miami. That's just a little tidbit there. Heard bad things about Virgin. What did you hear? I mean, let's talk about it. I'm always glad to address that elephant in the room. But I've not heard, the only bad things that I've heard is kind of what I've been saying is the app is not good. The dinner reservations are not great. The way that you got to go through that system. But the shows I really enjoyed. They're a different take. They're similar to what you will find on other cruise lines, but it is a modern contemporary dancing. The lead in one of their shows, Ships in the Night, is gender bending, gender queer. You've got a drag queen on board. There's some things like that that you need to be open to, I would say, if you're going on board. But to me, those are just really nice, refreshing changes to see come to a cruise line where on Royal Caribbean, the same Once Upon a Time show has been playing for 25 years. And it's not new. It doesn't feel fresh. It feels like a 25-year-old show. Oh, Michelle, I wish I was recording on the beach on Saturday. I was not. I did go over to South Beach here in Miami, and I thought about a video while I was over there. So there are special weekends we have here in Miami. The air show happens every Memorial Day. And so they had like a little festival with all the tankers, the military out there. And then you had the Air Force doing flyovers and people jumping out of planes, huge jets just flying by constantly. It was a really cool time over there. Tons of people. But if you ever do come to Miami for some of these, longer weekends, we might have something extra that you can do while you're in town. Adam, that's kind of what I was thinking. So it sounds like Princess follows the celebrity model of the ships aren't really designed for children, and travel agents and people booking aren't sending families there. It's not a family cruise line like Royal Caribbean is, Carnival is, some other people that have made a really good name for themselves in the family way of going. And it is Wednesday to Sunday, so I finally came to my senses on that. Their schedule I've always found weird on Virgin Voyages. I don't know why they do that. They don't have to split the berth. I don't know if it's how they have to go into Bimini or what they're doing over there. But I wish they'd have a weekend. You told me at some point they sent a survey asking about weekends, and I'm still crossing my fingers for that. Resorts World is fantastic. I've only ever been to the private area of the resort when I've been with Virgin Voyages, Jen. I've never actually gone to Resorts World, which is interesting. I should do that next time I'm over there just to check the box and see how it was. Update. You were able to get 1 million medevac coverage, medical with Travel Guard. Fantastic. It's one of those things that it seems like a lot of money now to pay for it, right? But should something ever go wrong and you need that insurance, that's where you're going to be thankful for every penny you ever paid into it. Hopefully you never do. Hopefully none of us ever do. But that's the reason we have insurance. You've got to figure out what risk am I comfortable taking on, financial risk that I'm comfortable taking on, and move forward there. What a good son. I know. I try. So she's actually, I should say this, Mom's also coming on the group cruise. So I just added her. So if you are coming on the September 26th Independence of the Seas group cruise, link in description, you're going to get to meet my mother. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this or not. By the way, hi, Mom, if you're watching. I know you watched last night's premiere. I was like, do I want to introduce you all to Mom? Do I want Mom to be introduced to you all? And so we've gone on a few sailings. You know that I did the Virgin Voyages, video of her opinions and her thoughts. She's come with me on Royal and Celebrity these days, and she loves meeting you all. The people that come up and say, hey, Brandon, we know you from the channel. She just lights up too, because she's super good about that. And so she enjoys talking and getting to hear everybody and hear your stories about how you watch the weekend cruise. So I was like, you know what? Let's bring her. It'll be fun. So I'm going to fly her down. Actually, I'm going to be flying down from North Carolina. My birthday is 3 days before the cruise takes off. So I'm going to be up there celebrating with my twin brother. I don't know if I ever told you guys that. There's another one of me running out there. So if you see somebody that looks kind of similar to me, could very well be him. We're fraternal, so we're not identical, but we do look like brothers. We look legit like brothers, but not twins. So I'm going to fly back with Mom, and we're going to get on the cruise the next day together. So, Greg, I was really surprised. This was the celebrity reflection the week after the group cruise, and a guaranteed aqua was only $100 difference total from a guaranteed veranda. And so I was like, that's kind of a no-brainer there for a 3-day cruise. For $100, I'll do Aqua Class, and it got me additional onboard credit. So why not? Dewey, you're absolutely right. So get those when you're looking at Virgin Voyages and price shopping it or comparing it to other cruise lines. Make sure you are trying your best to do apples to apples. And if they don't make it easy on us, you kind of got to go to the Facebook groups and say, hey, what's the drink package going for? What's the all that? Because you can't see those until you actually book the cruise. And then you can go into your cruise planner to see what the actual prices are. Oh, it's a huge thing. The way that some of my friends have said this, and I think this is absolutely true. When parents go on a cruise with their kids, they go on vacation from their cruise. They are from their kids. The kids are on there. They do whatever they want to. They have a good time, but they're not really parenting that week. They're off duty. They're on the cruise ship, and somebody else can watch after them. I see a lot of that where people just don't pay attention to their kids, unfortunately, and accidents happen. What would you say to someone like Nolan to convince them to take their first cruise? Nolan, I don't remember if you are looking at going at it by yourself. The first thing that I'll say is number one, solo travel is amazing. But if you want to ease into that, consider the group cruise. I think the group cruise is a really good way to slowly introduce yourself into cruising and also traveling by yourself because you're not necessarily alone. You would be with other people for dinner, for shows, for whatever you wanted to, but you still would be getting there by yourself, checking in by yourself, figuring it all out by yourself until you met up with the group. But then you can kind of ease into it and say, okay, is this something that I want to do on another sailing that I select and truly go by myself and see how you would do? If you do have people that would go with you, what I would say is, come watch the video, see which cruise line resonates with you, find a deal, and give it a try. I would say start with a 5-night or longer. I know a lot of people want to do the weekends for a cruise to test it out, see if they're going to be bored, see if they're going to feel claustrophobic on the ship, some of the feedback that I hear. But a weekend sailing is very different than a 5-night and longer sailing. So if you're going on a weekend sailing to see if you want to do a 7-night sailing, you're not going to be doing apples to apples there. A weekend cruise is a booze cruise. It is a party cruise. It is high nightlife. It is a lot of drinking. It's a lot of parties, a lot of groups. When you go on a 5-night, you start to see that slow down a little bit. It's not as much a party cruise. It's not a booze cruise. It is a more relaxing time, and it will be more similar to what you would find as a 7-night sailing. So find one that works for you. I would also say start in an interior cabin. People probably don't always like that advice, but don't feel like you got to go into a balcony or a suite on your first time because then you're going to feel like you need to do it every time. If you start an interior and go, oh, wow, this isn't that bad. Unless you do have like legit claustrophobia, you need to be able to open the door or see outside, then get a window or something like that. But I wouldn't start at the high end. Start at the low end and see how it goes. Saves money. That way, if the vacation's a bust, you can use the saved money to go on another one somewhere else. Another vote for Virgin. They're very nice. I also will say that I wish that they were cheaper, though, Beverly. When am I going back on MSA Magnifica? I will be there on June 14th is when I will be there. So what is that? 1, 2, 3. In 4 weeks. No, 3 weeks I will be there. June 14th, I'm going back to the Magnifica. I've not done the retreat. It's their suite area. So I don't think that it's not that it's adults only probably, but at least I don't think it is. People would cruise Celebrity more than I do with, more money than I have. Let me know what you think here of the retreat. I think that it's just one of those, Jen, where because it is a higher experience, you're just not going to see as many children there. And the elevated experience that you're going to see by their specific pool and all that kind of stuff is going to have a different vibe to it. So I just think in those areas, you're not going to see as many kids. I know. We'll go on another cruise again, Laura. We run into each other every now and again, so we'll make it happen. What are some of the free places to eat on Symphony of the Seas beside the buffet main dining room? So they do have a few of these. The ones that are going to be on the promenade are going to be Cafe Promenade, which is not my favorite. That is probably my least favorite. They're going to have little sandwiches, some fruits. They're going to have some desserts. So if you just want something quick, that's going to be a good hit for you. You're also going to have Sorrento's Pizza, which is also right across the street from the Promenade and right across the street from Cafe Promenade, that is going to have your pizza. That is most people's go-to place. You're then going to have the hot dog place up at Boardwalk Balcony. That is also going to be free. So if you want a hot dog, they've got bratwurst, things of that nature. You're going to be able to go there. If you're also on the boardwalk for breakfast, you can go to Johnny Rockets. A lot of people don't realize that Johnny Rockets is complimentary for breakfast. That is the only time that I really go there these days, unless I'm being weak and getting a milkshake later in the day. But I don't eat at Johnny Rockets. I don't appreciate their food. I don't like their style of food. I wish that they would change Johnny Rockets out for something else, but apparently they've got a really good contract with him, and she's not going anywhere. You're also going to have on deck 8, you're going to have the Central Park area with the Central Park Cafe. This is going to have salads, sandwiches, and it's also got a coffee bar, so you can grab some stuff there if you want. One that a lot of people forget about, I even forget about it, and I walk by it just about every day, is the Vitality Cafe. So if you want to get some small bites to eat, you can go to the Vitality Cafe. That is on deck 6 forward, where you're going to find the gym and the spa. Most of their drinks are going to be smoothies, protein drinks, fresh squeezed juices that you will have to pay extra for, but they've got a few food items that are also on the cheaper side. You're also going to have El Loco Fresh on the Oasis class ships. It is a large space in the back by the sports court. So that is a really good option as well. That's probably, if I was looking at these, El Loco Fresh is going to be my favorite, followed by Cafe Promenade, Sorrento's. No, excuse me, I'm getting my names confused. So my favorite would be El Loco Fresh. It would then be Central Park Cafe, followed by Sorrento's, and then Cafe Promenade. I tried not to eat at Cafe Promenade because it's just not great. And if I missed one, I don't think that I did, but let me know down in the comments if I missed a free spot. Security is not very good when it comes to credit cards. I don't know what that means either there, Mickey. Sorry if I didn't follow that from prior comments. Let me see what we said before. Mickey, I heard bad things. Oh, so you're tying that back to Virgin Voyages, I think. I mean, these days it seems like every company is having credit card leaks or issues of some kind. So I don't know what to say there. That could happen. It's happened to way too many companies at this point. MSC ship with Virgin Voyages vibe. I would love MSC prices at a Virgin Voyages atmosphere and vibe. That would be a good one there, Alex. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Greg. It's just not designed for kids, so you're not going to find a lot in the retreat, but they're not prohibited. Ooh, in terms of navigability of their mobile app, I will say, when the Royal Caribbean app first came out, I gave it such a hard time. Like, it wasn't great. But I will say Royal Caribbean's done a really good job of investing in their app to make sure that, number one, it's going to work. It refreshes. It's got the most information that you can find. It's the most robust. So Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, their app is going to be very, very similar. I think it's on the same platform, just with different branding for the two companies. Theirs are going to be the best. Virgin Voyages is going to come in next. So it is not a good app. It gives you bare bones. It's going to tell you where you need to be. It's going to give you reminders. You're going to be able to shake your phone and tell it to bring you a bottle of champagne, but it's buggy, doesn't work well. Getting reservations tough. Seeing full schedules, it's not a great app. MSC has the absolute worst, hands down. Hands down to MSC. I can't get it to work half the time. I've got to go specifically on airplane mode to get it to work and kick myself off of my cell towers. It's buggy. I had to reinstall it this last cruise. So that would be how I would rank it. Those are the ones that are leading the way. I'm sure other cruise lines are probably putting in a lot of money behind this as well, but those are the ones that I think are doing the most. Glad, RJ, that you had a good time in Nassau and Coco Cay. What did you do in Nassau? I'm always curious. People give Nassau a bad reputation because they just don't know what to do there. There's plenty to do. So what did you do there that had you enjoying it, RJ? Princess has a little bit more capabilities, it looks like, with being able to order food. I'm one who likes to look at my food. I don't necessarily like to point or see a menu. You do get to meet Mom. Mom will be on the group cruise. I should see if I got a text message from her. She's watching or not. No, nothing yet. Virgin canceled 2 different cruises you've been booked on. Xmas of 23, other of March. So Jigs, this is unfortunate. I mean, to have 2 of them canceled, that's just really bad timing. Were they charters, or what did they tell you was the reason for why they canceled? This is one of the things too that, I think I made a video on it, on your cruise could be canceled or your port could be canceled. Cruise lines reserve way too much, in my opinion, leadway to be able to sell you one thing and then deliver you something very different, or not deliver it at all. And so they normally will try to make it up to you by offering onboard credit, more bar tab, something of that nature when they do these things, knowing that it's problematic. And we've scheduled our lives around it. We've scheduled the vacation, the time off. But these things happen more times than not. A ship may get chartered. It may have some propeller issues. Who knows? It needs to go in for maintenance or a random dry dock. There's all sorts of reasons why things change. I didn't realize Virgin had done it that often, though. And that's just really bad luck that you had it happen twice. In all of my cruises, I think that I've maybe had 3 that have been chartered or canceled or something like that. And they've always tried to make it up to me. Ooh, the best ship. So that's a good question. It's changing these days, which is one reason why I like cruising different lines. I'm seeing different things and appreciating them for different reasons. I still will say that I love a Freedom class. I think that it is and I say that because it's the Goldilocks size. It's not too big. It's not too small. It's got plenty to do. It's got specialty restaurants. It's got extra entertainment. They're really good ships. So that's going to be Freedom, Independence, Liberty of the Seas, which Liberty is the one in the worst shape there, needing some renovations to her. But I would say Freedom class is still my favorite ship. If you want one that looks a little bit more glitzy, if you will, with a lot more metal and sparkle to it, the MSC C class. The pools on the C class as well are my favorite. I love the way that they're designed, and they've got one in the very back at Miami Beach, they call it, which is a wonderful spot to hang out. So that would be my 2 favorites. Are going to be Royal Caribbean's Freedom class and MSC's C class. But more to come on if I'm going to like their World America class on May 3rd when I am there. I'm going to practice saying May 3rd. Everybody be nice to Mom when she comes. So if you want to meet Mom, maybe I should start putting her on the advertisements for the group cruise. Come meet Mom. I'm glad you made it too. I think the Tuesday time slot seems to be working well. I might have to bounce Tuesday to Wednesday. This is the 3rd one that I've done. I did commit to doing more of these. These are fun. You all ask for me to do these. You love the advice. You love coming and talking about cruises, daydreaming a little bit with me. And so I love coming and sharing my evenings with you. This is always fun for me. So glad you can make it. Happily ever Yaddy. Have I gone on Jewel of the Seas? Wonder how she compares to the others in her class, looking at the 3-night Key West and Bimini. So I do have Jewel booked for next year. I assume that's what you're talking about when she starts doing short sailings. Where did I book her at? See, I thought I booked her next year. Did I book her this year? Maybe I didn't book her at all. That's really odd. I thought that I had done that, but I could just be looking at it quick because you asked me a question here. Oh, there it is. I booked her for October 3rd of next year. So that's when she's going to start doing weekends out of Port Everglades, and I wanted to go over there. I spent 2 back-to-back cruises, 7 nights in the Persian Gulf on Jewel of the Seas for, when was that? If we're in 24 now, so probably back in 21 is when I did that. I enjoy the ship. I think that for a small ship, they've done really well. They don't seem to age as easily as some of the other ships that I've seen. So I say that it's probably fine. I've not been there in 3 years though, Thomas. So TBD on when she comes over. But keep looking at her. I think I'm getting on. She starts doing the weekends on May 2nd, and I don't make it there until much later, unfortunately. But I do eventually make it there, unless, wait, I have it marked here. I might actually make it on there May 16th. I have not booked that yet, but I might be there May 16th, directly after the non-group group cruise on May 3rd. So I've got it marked because when a ship starts during weekends, I feel like I got to be there. I got to share with you all what that experience is going to be like, because I know y'all will be wanting to go on her as well. It's got to be a step up from Liberty, though. Let's be honest. I mean, Liberty doing weekend sailings needs some love. Do I normally go for the earlier or the later time with dining? I'm turning into a little bit of an old man on this stuff. So I traditionally like going earlier than later. So I'll go at 5:30. I think there was one time on MSC, this was the Divina, and they did 3 different seatings. They did an early, a late, and a really late. So it was like a 9:45 dining reservation. And I was like, guys, that's not going to work for me. You got to get it earlier. Like, I'm in bed at 10 o'clock. So I do go for the earlier sitting traditionally is what I like. But if I have to go to the 8 o'clock or the 8:30, that is not the end of the world. It gives me a little bit more time. I try to be in a really good routine of I'll go to the gym at like 4:30, go back to the room, shower, change, get ready, and then I'm ready to eat, and I'm probably starving at that point. So that's another reason why I do that. No, I mean, Symphony is a great ship. I really enjoyed Symphony. If I'm having to compare the Oasis class ships, though, I would say Oasis and Allure are probably my least favorite. They're just the older ones. Symphony is a beautiful ship. I've not done Harmony that terribly much, so I don't know if I can comment on that one. But I really enjoyed the time that I spent on Wonder. I got to do Wonder's 3rd sailing when she came out, and Wonder was a beautiful ship too. I do like Wonder a little bit better than I do Symphony, but she's coming in pretty close. You book the Ascent here. Lonnie Chauvin? I think I'm saying your name right there, hopefully. That is totally up to you. If you want to do a side-to-side or a back-to-back, you've got options. That's the great thing to it. So Celebrity and the Symphony are going to be 2 totally different ships. Even though the Ascent is one of the newer ships for Celebrity, it's still on the smaller side when you look at these Oasis-class ships like the Symphony. If anything, have you already booked it? If I was to do this, I would probably wind up doing a week on Royal Caribbean Symphony and then going on the Celebrity Ascent to have more of that relaxing adults environment before I reintegrate back into the real world. So I would do more of the upbeat, fun crowd, family crowd with kids the first week, and then the second week I would transition over. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing a back-to-back. They are amazing. The one thing that I'll warn you about with doing back-to-backs is you have deja vu a little bit. So you're on the same ship. The staff and the crew are all the same, which is great. They recognize you and they're like, wait a minute. But the thing that I continually do is I look for people that were on the ship the week before. So you'll see somebody's hairstyle and be like, oh wait, they went home. So that's just one thing that I'm really bad about. Matt, there is a ton of free food. They will keep you well fed on most of their ships. Some of the smaller ones doesn't have as much, but when you start talking about those Oasis classes, like the Symphony and Harmony, you're going to be in really good shape on where you can eat. That is definitely one strategy. If you're somebody who prefers your soda package, buy the soda package and use your vouchers that's a really good strategy there. So you get kind of the best of all the worlds. Pre-cruise booking experience. So it's interesting. I mean, I think, Alex, the best pre-booking experience is not to pre-book. I like the ships like the Freedom of the Seas where I show up and I can get into every show at the exact time that I want to. And so that's one thing that I like about that size ship. When you go up to the Oasis class and you got to pre-book, you might get a seat, you might not. Like the Aqua Show, for instance, is a not to be missed show on board Oasis class ships. And I'm not always great at getting tickets for it. I wind up having to wait. I'll say that, Virgin Voyages is also not good at their pre-booking experience for their shows. They sell out, they fill up. You can still get in there. You just have to show up like 15, 20 minutes early and you'll be able to get into these things. But it's just that hassle of it. So I don't know that any of them have mastered the art of pre-booking experience when it comes to dining and shows, except for the ones that you just don't have to pre-book. It's just all done for you, which I really like. Oh, you are definitely more adventurous than I am, RJ. So in Nassau, you got a moped and rode around the same spots. Oh, you did the walking tour. So I keep saying I need to remake that video. It's one of my older ones. Everybody loves it. It's got solid content in it. I need to remake it now that I've kind of stepped up the video editing game some. But glad you did that. Glad you were safe on those mopeds. So for RJ, you've already done it. Most of the time, it's not recommended. The State Department came out and said don't rent them. Even my cruise director last week on MSC said, hey, don't rent the jet skis, don't get the ATVs, the mopeds, don't do any of that stuff from these folks. Only go through the pre-approved vendor. So hopefully that's what you did there. But either way, sounds like you came back unscathed. And you were able to get out to Cable and Cabbage Beach, which are some beautiful beaches. If you ever want to just get away from the crowds a little bit. So Junkanoo has its own atmosphere. If you want to see more authentic beaches, go over to Cable and to Cabbage Beach like RJ did here, and you'll have a wonderful time. It could have been, Adam. That was... It could have been because she was delayed. I was thinking it was probably going to be like a COVID thing because that definitely shut down Virgin Voyages for a while that they had to recover from. But it might be the delayed. I think they've delayed several of their ships. Yeah, they're identical apps. And I mean, I've seen them come a long ways. I've been on the app since the first time that they ever did it. I mean, I started cruising when paper was a thing. So I've seen them evolve, and they're putting, I can only imagine how much money behind their apps. So thank you, everybody who's paying those high fares. It's going to a good app experience. So Beth here is vouching for Jewel of the Seas for Thomas. Say she went on it recently. It's a good ship still. I agree. Which cruise line does the best status matching? MSC. Hands down MSC. Because MSC will status match you to hotels, to airline. If you have status anywhere, like they just want to get people on their ships, you all like they are coming for the Americas market. I keep telling you, they want to be a player here in the Americas. And so they'll status match with just about anybody. If you got status with anything, even if you get it through the credit card, they don't care. If your credit card gives you status at Hilton, go status match with MSC. Like they'll give you free stuff. And their free stuff is actually kind of nice. I always get macaroons. I get a bottle of Prosecco. I get a free special restaurant every single cruise that I go on. Even the weekends, I get that. I get a bar of chocolate, which I think I've already eaten from this last cruise. They're really good status matches, but they do the best. The only other cruise line that I know that does it was Virgin Voyages. I don't know if they still do status matching or not. I haven't checked up on their program since they changed it a little bit ago. But MSC definitely does. It is a pain, though, I will tell you, because there are people that take quite some time to get the process going. There's errors. The tool that you use is not ideal. Both Greg and Jen, who are in the chat, tried doing it within the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I think it was like pulling teeth for them, unfortunately. So good luck if you go down that route. But I highly advise, give it the effort. It will be worth it. We also just saw Tourism Police and the Queen's Staircase area. Good that you didn't feel unsafe. Independence was the only ship that day. I'm glad to hear that they've got some folks over at the Queen's Staircase. That is in what they call the Over the Hill area, which is considered to be one of the more dangerous areas in Nassau. So if you're going there, that's the place you're going to want to make sure you're paying closer attention to or being more vigilant. I've always felt fine when I've gone there, but just make sure you're keeping your eyes open. Makes sense. So it was the delayed ship then. Yeah, those things happen. But they delayed it by a good bit, though. Like, this is one reason why I don't like being on inaugurals, because I always feel like there's going to be something that happens on the ship and it's going to get delayed. But in this case, I mean, I think they pushed it out by months. And so you couldn't have anticipated that. From Wilmington, North Carolina? Is that where you're going from, Doug? That will be an amazing trip, though. Hopefully you've got good seats on the plane. It's a long ride, but you're going to love Alaska. That is definitely a dream trip. Oh, wanted to try the big new Carnival ship. So if they ever do weekends on one of their big new Carnival ships, I'd give it a try. I actually, Beth, booked the Conquest, the exact opposite of big and new. It is small and old, but I did book her for 2025 just to say Brandon does Carnival for once. Everybody keeps asking about it, so let's go over there. Happily Ever Yachty, I am on the Utopia of the Seas. I've got 2 sailings on her coming up in September and November. So super excited to be going over to Utopia and share with you all what a new beautiful ship doing weekends looks like. Yeah, that's the thing, Jigs. I totally get it. If you've rescheduled your life to make sure that you're free for this, and then they say, oh, we can't do it for another 6 months, I might already, knowing me, I definitely already have another trip planned, or I'm booked up solid. Like, I can't just scoot it over and be like, oh, yeah, no, that's totally fine. I really don't like when they do that, but it's one of the downsides of cruising is cruise lines and the cruise contract that we sign have every right to do that, and they take more than full advantage of it. Utopia is not out yet, but I'm very curious to see what they do with it. They always make a little bit of improvements. At this point, they've got multiple Oasis-class ships that they've been improving upon. I don't know if there's that much different that they're going to do for Utopia, and I think that's one reason why you don't hear about Utopia in the news. She is the next ship to come out with Royal Caribbean, and it is still all about Icon. Even though Icon came out, that is what everybody is talking about. That's what all the marketing is for. Utopia is like the redheaded stepchild, or the Marsha effect over here. You don't hear about Utopia. I don't get it. Alan, welcome. I have not, Robert, heard what the Quantum is getting for her makeover. She's not that old of a ship, is she? I'm kind of like, it kind of annoys me a little bit that I hear things like Quantum's getting a makeover, and the Liberty of the Seas and Grandeur of the Seas and some of these other ships are about to fall over. I don't understand how they choose what ships get all these added benefits to it. If I had to guess, she's probably going in for routine maintenance. She's just going to have a normal dry dock, do some stuff to the engines, make sure safety protocols are there. I don't see them doing a lot to the inside of Quantum, but I could be wrong in that. If somebody knows, let us know in the comment on what you've heard Quantum's going to be getting. And hello to you too, Robert. You sound like me, Matt. So when I go on a cruise, if I'm not watching, I shouldn't say a cruise, because weekends I'm pretty good these days because it's only 3 days. But when I do my land-based trips, I just got back from doing a road trip around Slovenia, Austria, Slovakia, and Hungary. And I think halfway through it, I was like, I literally cannot eat anymore. Slovakian food, by the way, is amazing. It is creamy. It's goat cheese. It's goulash. It's all these really, really heavy dishes. And I loved it so much so that I literally was like, I'm not eating anymore. Like, I just physically cannot do it. And that's kind of how my body regulates as well. Like, I eat for like 3 or 4 days, and then I physically just cannot do it. This is why I need to get back on Virgin. I keep telling their social media team I need to go over there. But we can't seem to work our schedules out to where they can bring me on board and I can make it. So it's probably a good thing they're not doing show reservations anymore, because it just, for the headache, and people make the reservations and then they wind up doing other things or forgetting about it. So I am a huge fan of that. They still do it for the dining, though. That would not work for their dining. I think that would be a miserable experience if you did not have a reservation for their dining. But maybe one day they'll come up with a better solution. If anything, maybe Virgin should just give out blanket reservations to everybody for, and then you can change it if you want to. But I think the problem is they physically just don't have enough seats to accommodate everybody. Human from a Place, what you got here? So booked your second one on the 16th. So I'm going to assume then that you had a good time on MSC. If nothing else, the price that they deliver on is fantastic. What are your thoughts on the Magnifica going on a world tour in 25? She's not a ship that I would want to spend a full year on. If she's, and granted, MSC's world trip's probably, 200 days, which is still a lot. But if she's doing a world tour, it's small. It's going to be able to get into some really cool ports because she is a smaller ship, but she is 95,000 gross tons. She's a baby. I would not want to do her for a world tour. 7-night, sure, like that's fine. I can make do. But for a world and making it home, I'd want a C-class. I'd want a few more things to go with. Oh, the overnight at Ocean Key is amazing. That is my favorite thing. That island is beautiful. And to see the sunset while still on the private beach on the it's just amazing to see the sun come down. You don't get to do that on other cruise lines. Other cruise lines bring you back by 4:35. The sun's not setting for another 2 hours. So I'm a huge fan of their overnight. If I can do an overnight and go to Key West in the same itinerary, now we're in business. They do actually, Beverly. So shockingly enough, you're going to have a Broadway show on all Oasis class ships, even on the weekend. So on Allure, you've got Mamma Mia. On Utopia, you're going to have. Help me out, team. What's the show that's going to Utopia? I'm blanking on it. I know they've got another Broadway show, but for the life of me, somebody will say it, and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's it." But they do it on the weekends. Even Liberty of the Seas has Grease. They even offered it. They offered it at like 3 p.m, which was odd, but they offered it. Taste both of them and see. If you've not done either one before, I would say give it a whirl, but I have a feeling you're probably going to like the Ascent better. So if you want to just hedge your bets, that's the one that, everybody's raved about the new Edge class ships that have come out. So that's always a good option for you. Choose one. All expenses paid options. A, space shuttle, voyage orbiting the Earth, or B, cruise around the world. I would cruise around the world. I have no desire to be skyrocketed, propelled into the atmosphere. That sounds horrifying to me. So I don't talk about heights too much on here, but I don't do good with heights. So one of my good friends loves to go hiking. I do not love to go hiking. I will hike, but I need to know that there's a rail beside of me and that there's not a cliff. And by going up into the atmosphere, that's like the ultimate. No, I don't think that I could see myself enjoying that. But around the world cruise, I probably could get on board with on the right ship. I made a video one time about how I did not want to do around the world trip. When Royal came out with theirs, I said, that's not it for me. So neither one of these options really wow me. But if I had to choose one, I'm choosing the cruise. But I'm not signing up for a world cruise anytime soon. Beth, thanks for that. So Virgin is apparently still doing their matching. So if you want to match with them, again, their program just changed up. They give you solid perks. It doesn't take much. Even if you sell them, I think it's 3-4 times now. Maybe it's up to 5. You get really good perks with them. They give you coffee and all sorts of good stuff. So premium Wi-Fi, I think, comes with it. It's pretty cool. It's tough when you think about loyalty programs, right? Because you want to offer something they're not already getting. But Virgin already has so much already included, their hands are a little bit tied. So they do what they can. Oh, I didn't know that they status matched over the phone. I've always just used the form online. That's good to know if they'll do it that way. And they do give you a 5% off discount once you status match. And if you book more than 6 months in advance, I don't know if at the Diamond level at least, they give me $50 of onboard credit, even for a weekend cruise, for just me, which is my port fees and taxes at that point, because they come in at $47. So I've got like $3 extra I get to spend. Doug, that makes a lot more sense. If you were flying out of Wilmington, you'd be going to Charlotte or Atlanta, I think, and then having to go somewhere else on the West Coast. So Raleigh, I think there's a Alaska Air flight that does direct service from Raleigh. Definitely have your TA check that, Greg. He would appreciate it. Robert, you're welcome. Made way for your plays off B-Way run. Canceled, made way for my plays off Broadway run. Oh, I got it. Congratulations on that. So I don't know if you heard at the beginning of the show, I just booked Broadway tickets. So I'm in New York next week for my full-time job. And I booked The Notebook on Tuesday and I booked The Wiz on Friday because I saw Wayne Brady was going to be leaving in a few weeks. And so I wanted to catch him off. But if you got a show up there, Jigs, like if it's still going, I got some extra time. The marketing was very incredible for Icon. I mean, I have never seen a ship so hyped as the Icon of the Seas was. And she's a beautiful ship. I've seen her here in port in Miami. I've seen her when she's come in, she sailed. I mean, she sparkles. She is a monster of a ship, though. But she is absolutely beautiful. Utopia, I think I saw maybe one advertisement about Utopia and then nothing. Definitely the redheaded stepchild. That's interesting to think that Liberty's the most profitable. Doing weekends out of Everglades, she was a little bit cheaper to get on, but I mean, that doesn't mean the drink packages, I didn't price all those things out. That's an interesting concept, though. You would think that they'd want to put some money back into it, but I understand why not. Adam, this could be why I'm not remembering what Broadway show's coming to Utopia. I'd be surprised if they didn't do one. Just tell me that it's not going to have effectors. As long as it doesn't have an effectors 1 or effectors 2, I'm going to be fine. That is not my kind of show. Alan, Wizard of Oz is actually on Icon of the Seas, is where that is. So I don't think they're also going to be doing that on Utopia. That's on Icon. At Key West, what do? So me and Mom went there, and the first thing you got to do is get off the ship and have brunch. Don't eat breakfast on the ship. Get off the ship. The food in Key West is amazing. For those places to survive, they've got to serve really good food. So get some good food. Do breakfast, do lunch. You'll probably come back for dinner because all aboard will be like 5, 6 o'clock probably. But the food is fantastic. Live music, the atmosphere, walk around. You've got the Hemingway House, which does a neat little tour. Beautiful house, lots of history. Got the southernmost point you're going to want to see. Those are things that if you've not been there, you want to make sure that you do. When I go there, I'm traditionally going over to a bed and breakfast or a place that I can get by a pool because it's normally hot. Last time I was there was 3 weeks ago, when the heat index was 105. And so I wanted to be by a pool with somebody who would bring me water. And so that's what I traditionally do there. But if I've got people with me, those other things are what I do. There's also a really good cookie shop. Forget the name of it, but it is right there when you get off the ship to the left. You can just type in cookies into Google and you'll be able to find it. So by the way, if you're taking a cruise ship to Key West, I don't know if everybody realizes this, it's in Florida. You don't need an international package or international plan to use your cell phone in Key West. So you're good to go there. So those are kind of the things that I personally like to do is food. Most people are going to wind up going to a bar, listening to the music, that kind of stuff. It's a really great atmosphere. Lots of art dealers too, if you like art stuff. So interestingly, you mentioned this, Beverly. So Beverly's talking about the Bliss Cruise is the name of this. And it is the big naked ship is what they call it. That's what their advertising is. And it made the news this year. Interestingly, it's probably been out for a decade. It is not a new cruise ship or a new charter whatsoever. It is just people walking around being naked the whole time on a cruise ship. And I would say that this one's probably more harmless than some of the other ones that are out there. So I was on Freedom of the Seas after it did a swingers cruise. So it was a full charter. They took it over. And I came back onto the Freedom when it was my home ship. And the stories the crew members were telling about that ship and everything that had happened and changed. And that's the one that I would be really hesitant to go on versus the nude cruise. I think the nude cruise is more just people like being naked. I don't know that it necessarily has any other connotation to it. But when you talk about a swingers cruise, there's no shame in that game. They know exactly what they're getting into. So I think you're probably going to be good to go. And they know what audience or what charter they have and how deep of a cleaning they're going to need to do to make sure that it's back up to speed. Is it not called, Nick, is it not called Grease? It's called, I guess it is called Saturday Night Fever. Why did I think that it's, who has Grease then? Now I'm confused. This is what happens when you go on way too many ships. They all blend together. But it is another Broadway style show that's way too long. I don't think I've sat through that one in a while. Beverly, I'm seeing a lot of glitches. So when I was on Symphony of the Seas, they had a glitch in the show that I was watching. There's Where Well, which was Hairspray, and the Aqua show had a glitch in it too. So apparently, Royal Caribbean's kind of glitch city these days with all that stuff. During the end of the year, what itinerary do I like the most? I mean, I'm a weekend person, and if I can get that weekend cruise to go to Key West and to Ocean Key, those are going to be my favorite ones. But what I traditionally like to do, I can get a few more days off work at the end. I will do a longer sailing. So the past 2 years, I've gone to, last year I was in Asia. So I sailed from Singapore to Hong Kong for 12 nights. The year before, I did an 11-night sailing where I left from Buenos Aires, Argentina, sailed around the Horn, and came back up to Santiago, Chile. So those are what I really like to do. They're a little bit more expensive, but because not much happens at work, I can get a few more days off and can go. Yeah, Matt, talk about another ship that's not even talked about. So if we haven't heard anything about Utopia, we're definitely not going to hear anything about the next Oasis class ship that's going to come out. And I don't know that it's even been named yet. Star of the Seas has been named. So there's another Icon of the Seas ship that's coming out. And I imagine same situation is going to happen. It's going to completely overshadow. Happily ever yada. Send me a note when you hear that. I'll probably see it in like a Facebook group or chat group somewhere. But that would be it. You know, let's just move cats off the ships altogether. I don't think anybody that goes onto a cruise ship wants to see cats. There may be a few, but when you think of the demographic of people that are going on this ship, they don't want to see cats. They're not going to get it. They're not going to understand it. Heck, I don't necessarily get it or want to see it. You know, I love the song Memories. It's great. You know, at a Show Tune Tuesdays kind of event, sure, I'll sing along to it. But I can't sit through Cats again. At least it's an abbreviated version. When they originally did it, Thomas, they had the full version of Cats on board the ship. Now it's at least the skinny down version of it. Glad you liked it. Explorer is, so Freedom class is my favorite size ship because it's that Goldilocks, right? Because it's got all these things. Even the Voyager class directly below that, which is what the Explorer is. It's just like a little baby Freedom class ship. It's just a little bit smaller, but it still has all the fantastic amenities. You get all these great shows. You're going to really, really enjoy Explorer of the Seas. That's where I was on for October, cruising around the Mediterranean with my niece, who I took out of college or out of high school. She's not in college yet. She'll be there soon enough. You know, Nick, this is definitely a solid strategy to enjoy Key West. Get key lime pie. So if you want to know where the best ones are, there's several lists online that will tell you where the top 10 key lime pies are. I met one person who it was their goal actually to try each one of the top 10 key lime pies. They're everywhere, but give them a try. It is a classic. They all put their own kind of twist to it, but it's fantastic. Harmony has grease. That's right. That's the one that I was most recently on. Thank you for that, Matt. I'm glad you all are keeping me straight on some of this stuff. Oh, you're going back in 25 with the whole show. I could be back in 25. If you're there in the summer, I might be able to come and support you. You're right, Greg. I was getting my ships confused. This is why you can't take me anywhere. I also, even though it was the group cruise, I left at halfway. I was like, nope, I'm out. I can't do this. Greece is on Indy. Is it? I don't think it's on India. It might be. It could be. But I feel like it's on a bigger ship than that. Jigs, I've not done it for several years, gone to Alaska. Do I have any tips for Alaska? Bring all sorts of clothing. The weather you cannot predict. It's going to be all over the place. So bring all sorts of clothing. Bring warm weather, bring cold weather. Be prepared. Bring binoculars. If you're not staying in a suite, Royal Caribbean will offer them in a suite. Bring binoculars so that you can look out and see some wildlife, look at the animals, whatever it is that you want to do with them, you can do that. Spend some money. The excursions are not going to be cheap. You're probably not going to go back anytime soon. Spend some money on your excursions, invest in them. We did one of the highlights that we did with me and my mom and my dad. We got into one of the seaplanes and took it over to a glacier and had a salmon bake where a bear came and like licked the grill afterwards. It was a really, really fun experience. So I would say check that out. That would be my go-to that I would do. Ooh, I'd love to do a river cruise in Europe. They're much smaller. Every time I see them, I'm taking pictures with them because I think they're just the cutest little things. But they only hold like 200 people. They're 2 stories tall. They're extremely long, and they don't go that far. But I would absolutely do one in Europe. When I was in Bratislava in Slovenia, they were everywhere. In Vienna, they were everywhere. They're just going down the Rhone River, and it is a great way to see places that cruise ships can't get you. You're also probably going to find a few more overnights, or they're going to be able to stay longer. They're also going to be more all-inclusive, and they're going to cost a lot more. You're going to find that the demographics are a bit more senior than what you're traditionally accustomed to. Would I do it? In a heartbeat. I would absolutely sign up for it all day long. One of these days, I'm going to do it. Just haven't had the opportunity or the right cruise just yet. Best time to go to Alaska. Greg kept me honest on this last time. It's going to be the end of July is where you're going to be looking at. So you're going to want to really try for the middle of summer to make sure you're getting the best weather. However, if you want the best rates on going to Alaska, you're going to want to go on one of the first sailings or one of the latter sailings in October. That's when it's going to be colder, but you're going to be able to find a better deal because everybody's trying to go during that peak season and that perfect week. But if you go on the shoulder seasons, you'll be able to find a little bit better of a deal. Oh, Beth, what was it canceled because of weather? I guess just too choppy to port up. I'm kind of surprised that a riverboat wouldn't be able to dock because of weather. So I'm curious why those were canceled. That's unfortunate. And you're right. You pay a good bit of money to go on a river cruise. I've got a friend of mine. Hey, Laura, if you're watching, different Laura than what's in the chat, but she's doing the Christmas markets. I think through like Germany is what she's doing. And so it's just going to go country to country, city to city to see the Christmas markets. So it's a pretty cool thing that you get to do. That's really strange, the due to weather. I mean, it shouldn't surprise me because cruise ships have issues with it. You would think that they would too, but thanks for the heads up, Beth. River cruises, not immune for cancellations. Sorry to throw that one out there at you. What is your favorite thing to do a perfect day? Don't hate me for this. Stay on the ship. These days, it's absolutely stay on the ship. I have been to Perfect Day Coco Cay. Drum roll. I'm probably up to 90 times. I have been to Coco Cay 90 times. I don't need to get off the ship anymore. I've done it. It's kind of like Nassau, and it's interesting. The more that I sail, the more I find people staying on the ship in Coco Cay because they're like, I've already done it. I did it in my last cruise. Like, I just want to enjoy a quiet pool and have everybody go do their own thing. So I stay on the ship a lot more than I used to when we're in Coco Cay, especially if we're beside of an Oasis class ship. I'm going to stay on. If I was to go off, I normally head over to South Beach or to I guess that's the west side. So on the opposite end of the pool when you're walking through where the snack shack is, that's normally where I'm going to hang out. I used to do the pool a lot more, but now that the DJ is not there anymore, I just go and kind of sit in a chair by the water, read my book, hang out, relax, or I'm shooting full ship tours while you all get off the ship. I'm working. I'm trying to make some dollars so that I can buy my next cruise. So those are my favorite things to do. I would not do Hideaway again. I don't see me booking that anytime soon, but it's either going to be Oasis Lagoon or over by the snack shack at Chill Island. Oh, well, Happily Ever After, you went definitely the extreme. That's probably the most expensive one, but to your point, like, I think they even let you off the helicopter and you get to walk on the glacier, which such an awesome experience. Not sure the environmentalness of that, but they will let you do it. But even the seaplanes are more reasonably priced. They're still going to be probably $400 a person, but that is, I would do one of the two. I think that would be a great way to do it. Yep, Robert, I'm not the only one, my friend. There's a lot of us who are staying on the ship these days. Not only in Nassau. Nassau, some people call, just another sea day. I'm just going to stay on the ship. It's just a sea day, Nassau, because they don't give it a chance. If you know what to do in Nassau, you can find places. In Coco Cay, your options are a lot more limited, and there's a lot more people that get off the ship. So I can see that also being my favorite thing to do. All right, so it looks like I'm all caught up with comments here. We're an hour and 45 in. Last call for questions, and then I'm going to call it a night and get in bed over there because I'm a little tired these days. So let's see if there's any other questions. Give them a second to come through. There's a few. Ooh, best after-hours food options. I'm probably going to go with MSC because of their pizza. MSC's Pizza for late night options, either there or Virgin Voyages Pizza. It is open later. Virgin Voyages is the only one that I know of that has 24/7 breakfast. So you can go up there at any time of the evening and you will be able to find food. So when you talk about late night, they're going to have you at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Nobody else is going to do that. Everybody else is going to close down at some time. So that would be my stack ranking kind of those. My pleasure, Jigs. Thanks for tuning in as always. What you got here, Michelle? Have I done the Beach Club? I have. If you're buying the Beach Club for $100, that is a steal these days, I will tell you. It easily goes for $200 plus. So you're going to have a blast. Enjoy it. Get off the ship early. If you want good seats, because even there can fill up a little bit, and they've got some mattress beds by the water that a lot of people love. So if those interest you and you want to get one of those, get over there first thing in the morning to claim your space and get your money's worth. I mean, the food, if nothing else, is fantastic. The pool's a really cool environment. You're going to enjoy it. It's very relaxing. So bring a book, bring something to do, but it's really good. My pleasure, Beth. Always good chatting. How is the weather? It's warm right now. I mean, I don't know when you're asking about there, Michelle. It's warm now. That's what I can say. It rained today here in Miami, but I don't know what time of year you're talking about there. And my pleasure, Robert. Thanks for coming in. It's all about you guys here. There's a lot of people that will get off every single time. Let me know when you've been like 90 times and see if you're still getting off. It is a gorgeous spot. I do enjoy getting off when I do it, but I've also got to where I just enjoy the serenity of the pools and the hot tubs and not being bothered by everybody. That's also a really cool experience as well. I'll have to check it out then, Halfway Reality. It was an amazing experience. Oh, I bet it was. That you're talking about Alaska on that, the helicopter glacier. In December. So the temperature down here, normally you won't get really cold temperature until like January, February. But when those troughs dip down through the continental US, it will get chilly down here, even at Coco Cay. I've got pictures of me wearing like a lightweight jacket, if you will, where it's in like the 50s and 60s during the day. I'll also say that in December and January, the weather picks up. It's a lot more turbulent, so you're more likely to have high winds, rain, those kind of things there too. They seem to tick up in that time of year. I do always plan mine these days in advance. The cruises that I booked on, I'm fully booked through 2025 at this point, except for like one or two here and there. And I probably will start looking at 2026 pretty soon. The reason for that is there are no great last minute deals. There are no last minute deals to be had. I found one on MSC. I got one like for $400 for all in for a weekend on MSC, 2 months out, which is a steal. But I was booking that in advance too. But otherwise, Royal Caribbean, they're selling out. Celebrity, they're selling out. The prices, it's not even a matter of getting a deal. It's you can't get on the ships. They're full. People are showing up in droves these days, more than they ever have. And so it's driving the price up. So you're not getting last minute deals, and it's causing the bookings to close out earlier. So you can't even get on the ship if you wanted to. There's no money you could even pay. So I would advise you to, keep looking. It never hurts to check it. Maybe you'll find a random one out there, but play the long game these days. You want to be booking a long ways out in order to get the best bang for your buck. And then if the price comes down, you can always adjust it. All right. I think that is going to do it for me tonight. I appreciate you all coming and hanging out with me. This is always a pleasure on the Tuesday Night Lives. Next week will probably be on Wednesdays. So don't be looking for me on Tuesdays. I'll try to get a notice out or something to say Wednesday, but I'll do Wednesday next week because I'm going to be seeing a Broadway show on Tuesday. All right, everybody. It's Brandon the Weekend Cruiser. Hope to see you on the group cruise. Check the link below, and we'll see you there.